I've always wanted a PC that was powerful enough to throw into a backpack and take anywhere. Lawn parties, friends' houses, you name it. Unfortunately, my laptop just isn't cutting it anymore. Games stutter, performance is rough, and the experience is not great. For a long time, I dreamed about owning a mini PC, but let's be real, those things are expensive, especially if you're on a tight budget like me. So when my laptop finally started giving up, I decided to take a risk and put $100 into this dream. And somehow, I ended up with a real mini PC. Let's open it up and see what's inside. This right here is an ASRock Desk Mini X300. It's a super compact PC with a footprint of just 15 by 15 centimeters, about 8 centimeters length, and a total volume of only 1.9 liters. This PC is so small, it's literally about as tall as a $2 bill. It's small enough that I can comfortably hold it in one hand without any effort. Up front, it's actually pretty well equipped. You get multiple USB ports, including a USB Type-C port. It's also designed to be VESA mountable, so you can attach it to a monitor arm if you want a super clean setup. Now, let's open it up and see what kind of hardware you actually get for $100. Inside, we've got a super compact Mini STX motherboard that supports AMD AM4 CPU. Up front, there's an M.2 slot for Wi-Fi, and right above it, an M2 NVMe slot for storage. But that's not all. Around the back, there's another NVMe slot as well. So for a mini PC, this thing is actually really well equipped. On top of that, it also supports 2 SATA drives, which means in total, this system can connect up to 4 storage devices. That's honestly impressive for something this small. On the side, we have 2 DDR4 SO-DIMM slots, just like laptop RAM. This unit comes with 2 8GB sticks of DDR4 running at 3200 MHz, so 16 GB total. A solid setup. Now let's see what CPU is hiding inside, and here it is. The AMD Ryzen 3 2200G, codenamed Raven Ridge, officially released on February 12, 2018. Back then, AMD was already seeing huge success with Ryzen CPUs, but they were missing a strong APU option to compete directly with Intel in the budget segment. The Ryzen 3 2200G changed that. By combining Zen CPU architecture with Radeon Vega 8 graphics, it filled that gap perfectly and became a very attractive choice for budget users, basically a lifesaver at the time. The Ryzen 3 2200G scores around 411 points in single-core and 1,645 points in multi-core. These numbers show that the CPU still delivers solid performance for basic workloads, even though it's clearly been left behind by newer generations. One of the biggest advantages of the Ryzen 3 2200G was its launch price of around $99. At that price, you could build a basic gaming PC without needing a dedicated graphics card, and that was a big deal. First up is Fortnite. This is a fast-paced battle royale that focuses heavily on quick reactions and constant fights. So the experience here is more suited for casual players who prioritize lower system requirements over competitive play. At Full HD DX11 with low settings, the current FPS sits at around 37 with an average of about 34 FPS. That means the game is playable but not exactly smooth. What really stands out is the 1% low dropping all the way to 0 FPS, which clearly shows noticeable stuttering. With performance like this, basic movement and long-range shooting are still manageable, but once you get into close-range fights, FPS drops can happen and directly affect the experience. Overall, it's playable but not very comfortable, especially if you enjoy fast, aggressive combat. If you drop the resolution down to HD, FPS can improve by around 10 to 15 frames. And if you really want the smoothest experience possible, switching the render mode to Legacy Performance can help push FPS even further. Next up is Grand Theft Auto V. Even though this game has been out for many years, it's still a fairly demanding open-world title. And this test is mainly aimed at casual players. At Full HD resolution with the lowest graphics settings, current FPS sits at around 38, while the average FPS reaches about 46, which means the game runs fairly smoothly most of the time. However, the 1% lows dropping to just 1 FPS clearly show that sudden stutters can still happen, especially when loading new areas or moving at high speeds. Overall, GTA 5 at these settings is playable and reasonably comfortable for driving around and doing missions, but you'll still notice occasional noticeable FPS drops. Next up, we're moving on to Minecraft, one of the most played games in the world right now. At full HD resolution, FPS shoots past 400 frames per second, but that's only with the render distance set to 2 chunks, something even the weakest CPUs can handle. So let's push it a bit. At 8 chunks, performance is still very impressive. FPS can still hit around 370 FPS when I'm just moving around normally. When I crank it all the way up to 32 chunks, FPS averages around 100, but in more complex areas, it can drop down to about 50 FPS. If you care more about visuals, I also tested the Bliss shader. To make that playable, I had to drop the resolution down to HD. At that point, FPS sits around 20 to 25. It's not super smooth, but it's just enough to enjoy the beautiful visuals Minecraft has to offer. Finally, we have Cyberpunk 2077, one of the most graphically demanding games out there right now. This test is really more about pushing the hardware to its limits than actual gameplay. At full HD with low settings, current FPS sits at around 18, with an average of 25 FPS, and 1% lows at about 12 FPS, which shows the system is clearly struggling. Movement doesn't feel smooth, and input latency is still very noticeable, especially when moving quickly or entering areas with lots of NPCs. At this level, the experience isn't very comfortable, and is really only suitable for testing or short-term curiosity, not something you'd want to play for long sessions. For a $100 mini PC, trying to run heavy, graphics-intensive games is honestly a bit too much to ask. But for open-world games, this little system actually does a pretty decent job. That said, it's time to take this PC to the next level. I'm going to start swapping out some parts. First up is the CPU. I'm replacing the Ryzen 3 2200G with a Ryzen 5 5500. Since this CPU doesn't have an iGPU, I'll need a dedicated graphics card. So to match the Ryzen 5 5500, I've prepared an RTX 2060 Super with 8GB of RAM. Now here's the tricky part. This mini PC doesn't have a PCIe slot at all. So I'm using an M.2 NVMe to PCIe X16 adapter to connect the graphics card. The setup itself is actually pretty straightforward and convenient. The only real limitation is that the GPU will be running over PCIe X1, not X16, which means performance takes about a 15 to 20% hit. But that's fine. This is more of a temporary solution, and even with that limitation, it still makes this little PC way more powerful than before. Alright, let's see how this mini PC handles the games that it completely gave up on before. Starting again with Fortnite, using the same settings as before, after the upgrade, current FPS jumps to around 100, which is a massive improvement over the old setup. Before the upgrade, FPS was stuck around 30 to 40, with heavy drops during close-range fights. Now, frame rates are much higher and way more stable, making movement smoother, reactions more precise, and the overall experience clearly on a completely different level. Moving on to Grand Theft Auto 5 at full HD with high settings, the new configuration once again shows a huge difference. Current FPS sits at around 91, average FPS is about 90, and 1% lows hit 60 FPS, which means the frame rate is extremely stable. High-speed driving and intense shootouts with lots of NPCs remain smooth, with almost no stuttering at all. At this level, GTA 5 feels truly plug-and-play, with no need for extra tweaking. Next up is Minecraft. At 8 chunks, FPS goes well beyond 600. With numbers like that, increasing the render distance or enabling shaders is no longer a challenge for the system. And finally, Cyberpunk 2077, a game famous for bullying weaker hardware. But this time, the story is very different. With the current settings, FPS hovers around 63 with an average of 57, delivering a generally smooth experience. There are occasional small dips in crowded NPC areas, but compared to the old setup, where the game was basically unplayable, this is a huge leap forward. Now, Cyberpunk is finally something you can play seriously and comfortably. So in the end, I've tested gaming on this tiny PC that costs around $100. Performance is decent for games that don't rely heavily on graphics, and it would be even better if I could get a newer CPU with a stronger iGPU. Once you start upgrading with external hardware, the system obviously loses that original compact look. But overall, the ASRock Desk Mini X300 is still a very smart choice if you really value small size and a clean, minimal setup.